Good day and welcome back. Today we're going to talk a little bit about halters. I've done a few talks about halters in the past, but recently I watched a video where somebody was talking about halters, and they brought up several points that I've never discussed, and most of them I think were a bit of misunderstanding on their part, and some of them were some concerns that they had about halters that, well, they brought up some good points that I thought they were worth talking about. Now, one of the first things that they mentioned is, and keep in mind, this is somebody that is an extremely good horse person. I agree with them 100% on everything else they do. They got a real good attitude towards horses and everything else. I was actually a little surprised by the video that they did, and not all of it, but the part about the halters. And they talked about these, well, particularly rope halters they seem to have an issue with, but I'll get to that. One thing they mentioned is that when they'd go to shows, competitions and such, and they'd see people with their horses in halter, they noticed that about 85% of them, in their opinion, didn't fit right. The noseband was too loose. And well, I think that number is actually quite a bit higher than that. But there's a reason for it. It took me a while to figure it out because every time I'd see a halter or go to buy one, it's like, this noseband is like just huge. I couldn't figure out why. Well, there's a reason for that. That's so the horse can actually move its mouth, its jaw, it can eat, it can chew, it can pick up food, it can yawn, all that stuff. It needs that much room, and I'm going to actually attempt, if I can, my editing skills work, I'm going to see if I can take a clip from another video where this horse is wearing this halter and she yawns, and she actually fills up that entire gap in there. It's pretty big. Get her, hold her head up, or I'll get underneath there, and you'll see there. That's a pretty big gap in there. There's, oh, you silly girl. There, that's better. You can, that's a big gap. So, but there's a reason it has to be there. The horse needs that in order to be able to move its mouth properly. And you want a comfortable horse that's free to move. It's not like certain disciplines where they have nose bands on that strap their mouth shut and stuff like that. Big issue. They also didn't like the fact that some people would compensate for that poor fit by making sure this is tight up here. Actually, that needs to be reasonably tight, not over tight. You don't want to be causing discomfort, but having this part snugged up is not going to be a problem. And their concern was that if you tighten this up too much, it'll bring this rope up too high, get too close to the eye. I'll get to that too, because one of the problems with rope halters is they're usually handmade, and they're not very consistent, and you actually have to be a little bit careful how high this piece is. Some of them, and I've seen it on bridles too, where the band is actually extremely close to the eye. You have to be careful. You do not want the horse getting poked in the eye with that thing. That just would not be a good thing. Another comment they made is, and they were half true on it, but they didn't like these knots because they believed that the knots were put in strategic places to put pressure on the horse to make it respond better with a rope halter on. Well, first off, if you use the rope halter properly, I did a video on this years ago. I said, rope halters don't hurt horses, people do. And you're never going to hurt the horse. And certainly not because of these knots, because these knots, none of them are there to be pressure points. They're simply structural elements in the halter to hold it in the shape of a halter. That's the only reason they're there. The one exception to that would be there is a rope halter you can buy. It's called a 4-knot. And it has 2 additional knots on the nose band, because the nose is a very sensitive spot on a horse, and having extra knots on there actually puts pressure on the nose. The theory is it makes the horse more responsive. Well, you shouldn't be pulling down on the thing in the first place, so I don't even know why they think that those knots are any helpful at all. I confess I owned one of those many years ago. I will never own one again once I realized exactly how it worked, and I just realized how silly it was. Another thing that they mentioned that I'm going to try and show if I can get her to keep her head up enough is they said that the problem with the loose-fitting noseband is that when you pull sideways, the whole halter rotates. Now, there's 2 things here. First off, they're concerned that this rope would come up enough to hit the horse in the eye. Well, if this halter is anywhere close to being proper shape, that's not going to ever happen. And I'm going to show you something now. It says, first off, I get this other one out of the way here. She's not going to rotate. that halter is not going to rotate, and she's moving her head. Okay, that's you know, in early stages you may actually have to pull hard enough to rotate that thing. But I'll show you what happens. Is if it does rotate, I'm going to have a hard time doing it. But this one isn't going to rotate very far because of its design. But if it does actually rotate, it's simply going to pull more on the side that you want it to move away from pressure from. So in fact, you know, their concern was that if it rotates, the horse isn't going to get clear signal. It's going to be confusing. Fact is, if it rotates, the horse actually gets a clearer signal because it'll be entirely on the off side that you want the horse to move. And it's just like me touching it with my finger. See, she moves her head. See how that works? So, you know, that was, you know, most of their concerns. They did seem to, in some of the things they said, they had a bit of a dislike for rope halters. And, but as I said in another video, you know, rope halters don't hurt horses. People do. There's absolutely no reason ever to be pulling hard enough on that thing that you are going to ever cause discomfort to the horse. I ride in one, and all I got to do is pick up a rein. I don't even have to move this thing, and the horse responds to it. So, you know, like I said, you know, these knots are not pressure points. They're structural. They keep the thing in a halter shape. If the halter is a proper size, which this is a concern, you should watch because they're not very consistently made. Make sure that this piece is down far enough from the horse's eye. It should never come up too high by tightening this up. This part actually should be kept reasonably tight because it keeps the whole thing up in place. This one's actually a little bit loose right now, but that's okay. We're not doing anything with it. We're going to take it off as soon as we're done this video. Again, that big gap down there in all halters, whether it's a web halter or a rope halter, it's there for a reason. It's so the horse can move its mouth. It needs to be able to open its mouth up enough to, you know, yawn, pick up food, chew, whatever. That gap is there for a reason. Like I said, that took me a long time to figure that one out until I, you know, watched. And some people leave their horses out in pasture with halters on, and if you ever do something like that, which I don't agree with, but if you do, that horse absolutely has to have that room, or it's going to starve to death because it won't be able to eat. And you know, that's without a doubt. And so I think that about covers it. That's everything that they were talking about. They were concerned about this part. Yeah, and you should watch that, but the rotation won't cause that. The rotation actually makes the signal clear to the horse, not confusing as they think it does. The gap is there for a reason. The knots don't cause pressure, and like I said, the exception to that would be the 4-knot one that has the additional knots on the nose band. I don't agree with those ones. I don't like them, and you should never be relying on the pressure of a halter to accomplish anything with your horse. Like I said, just touch the thing, and you know, she'll bring her head around to me. See? You know, I don't have to be yanking on it or twisting that thing around. Okay, you can put your head back here. Thank you. And, you know, there will be times in the early stages of training where you might have to pull hard enough for it to rotate a little bit. Don't worry. It's not a big issue. It's not going to rotate very far. Like I said, this one actually, it doesn't rotate very far, very little. Some of the web halters I've seen actually will turn more than this thing will. So none of those things are things you need to worry about. I just thought I'd throw that out there, do a quick little video on halters, cover a few things that I've never covered before when it comes to halters. Don't want you being misinformed. Realize how they actually do work. That's why I'm doing this one. They didn't have a horse or a halter in hand when they were talking about it. I'm doing it with a horse right in front of me and a halter to show you exactly how it works, how it sits on the horse, so you know. You don't have to be worried about it, and you certainly do not have to be worried about that big gap at the bottom. Web halters and rope halters both will have a very loose nose band. That is part of their design, that way for a reason. Okay, have a good day.